Sometimes Justin also appears as the voice off camera.
Oh, good.
Because he's part of the show too, right?
You guys, yeah, I'll monitor the chat. Like, you guys are gonna have a good conversation.
Yes,
Usually
we are.
Have, like, Cliff is kind of watching the chat and everything, but you guys have such a good rep right now.
No, this is going to be.
I'll throw questions
Exactly.
I'll throw questions at you.
Okay, that's hot.
Okay, so we are live.
We're almost live. Or are we really live?
We're really live.
That looks good, but we're not on that camera yet.
No, that's us. That is that camera,
Yeah.
right?
Yes,
And
but
then-
we're using this one first.
Oh, that one's first.
Yeah, we'll use that one only for showing,
That. Oh, okay. Gotcha.
or your book or anything we want to show.
Right.
Okay. Good. 5 o'clock. So we are live. Yeah, we live now?
This is the best opening ever.
Are we live now?
So, wait. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, are we live?
Yeah,
What?
Exactly. Yeah. You know.
I love it. Like, yeah.
Just
a minute.
Excuse me, we're digging for goodies. Hi guys, we are live, and this is Torn Tuesday, which is our playful acronym for theonering.net. Welcome everybody to our weekly chat show. My name's Clifford Broadway, also known online as Quickbeam, the old pseudonym I've used for 11 years on theonering.net. We are the web community forged by the fans for the fans of J.R.R. Tolkien. And all the Lord of the Rings and Hobbit news and information and community is all right here on theonering.net. Today, we are thrilled, beyond thrilled, so thrilled that we are introducing the legendary actor of many, many fantasy sci-fi films, the man behind the makeup, the man who creates life underneath layers of latex, and may the playful alliteration finally end. This is Doug Jones, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey!
Yay!
Woo, there's love.
Lots of love.
Would you introduce me everywhere I go, please?
Yes, I would.
Precious,
Mr.
precious.
Doug
Clifford
Jones.
Scott Broadway, ladies and gentlemen.
This guy, he's the awesomest.
No, you are.
We see you, Doug. We bump into you at San Diego Comic-Con.
Yes, we do.
At all these events around the world, and here we are at Meltdown Comics.
Meltdown Comics, I love it here.
Okay, the epicenter of all good geekery in Los Angeles.
Yes.
And they're our host here for today's live show. And you were here not too long ago, were you?
All right.
It was
last week promoting my new book.
He has an extraordinarily funny and very cool new book.
Yes.
Let me show you guys a copy. This is called, switching to camera 2, a mime. No, it says mime very own book.
Yes.
There it is, mime very own book, with you in all these featured portraits as the mime.
As a mime.
Yes.
Because I started as a mime many years ago back in college, and it was a publisher, a Medallion Press in Chicago, got a hold of me and said, "Hey, do you want to retouch those roots and do a funny book?" So we titled it Mime Very Own Book to give you an idea that it's full of puns, like "Once Upon a Mime." Ta-da! Right? Or
Yeah.
oh, but
Yeah.
that's just the beginning. We also have these two. Can you figure those out, sir? What? Mime over matter.
Mime over matter.
Uh-huh.
I think I got
And what's
that
the other one?
Let's see. A
lot.
lot on my mind?
Yes.
Excuse me, I've got a lot on my mind.
Exactly. So it just goes on. It goes on.
Stupid.
Well, here we do. There's a redo of Rosie the Riveter there. We can mime it. And this is Venus de Mimelo.
No way.
Yeah. So there's famous works of art that we redo. There's famous and
Famous album covers?
people from history. Mime Kampf.
No.
No. Is it too soon? I don't know.
That's too funny.
It's not. It ain't right. Oh.
This is. Dare we? Dare we show that one?
We'll let them. If they get the book, they can see that one.
You got to see that one.
Well, here would be some famous imagery that we redid as with me as a mime, and there's Marilyn Monroe.
Marilyn Monroe.
Yes, and I've got great legs. I'm not gonna lie. I do what?
That's funny.
Here's another fave. This one is a famous picture from iconic Muhammad Ali, right there.
No
Yes.
way.
Yeah, it's an actual photo that was we
Now,
completely redid.
with the trick photography and with the Photoshop, and
Yeah.
all this jiggery pokery,
Yes.
every single person in there is actually you.
They're all me.
There's
Yeah.
no other human being in the book.
That's-
and you do all these costume changes, but the makeup is still classic mime makeup.
Yeah. Now,
This is my favorite.
I was joined by my friend Josh the Ponce Man Perry for quite a few of these, and he's my Down syndrome friend that is the star of the hit sensation on the internet, Retarded Policeman on YouTube.
Oh yeah, Retarded Policeman. I've seen that.
He
That's
does the
funny.
foreword of the book. He wrote up his own words of why he loves Doug Jones, and he acted it out for the photographer. It is the best, most creative forward I've ever seen. I love Josh the Ponce Man Perry. And here we call him Josh the Ponce Mime Perry, of course, because, it is a mime book. Now, here's my favorite section. This is we call Mima Say, Mima Sa, Mamakusa. Mama say, mama sa, mamakusa. What?
Mama say, mama sa,
Because
mama
it's all
kusa.
about Michael Jackson.
Oh no, MJ.
Yes, yeah, MJ. I know, right? Now this for a tall, skinny,
That's
goofy
funny.
guy like me from Indiana, channeling him and trying, recreating his moves and all was just a treat
Look at
for
that.
me.
Look at this. The mime moonwalk.
Yeah,
Guys, I'm gonna go from side to side.
Mama say, mama sa, mamakusa. Hey.
I'm getting some flash. From the Can you see that?
There you go.
I guess I'm getting too much glare.
It is a lot. There's some glare, but I think they get the idea.
That is so funny.
Isn't that fun? I had so much fun with this. We did the Smooth Criminal lean there, and then the Bad album cover there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, love. So it goes
too
on.
funny.
The book goes on and on, full of puns. We have the three little mimes. We have the three blind mimes. We have the mime Elisa. We have here mime doesn't pay. That's with me and Josh the Ponce Mime Perry. We make fun of movie posters and TV shows like MSI, Mime Scene Investigation. We also
No way.
Yeah, sure.
Mime scene investigation.
Right. We also have.
I thought I heard it all.
And these with Josh the Ponce Man Perry again. We have Dirty Miming and Mimey Vice. Huh?
Mimey Vice?
Right.
No way.
Yeah, there you go.
That
That's
is
hilarious
the most
fun.
funny-
Great
That's
fun.
insane.
These make great T-shirts, great
So
posters.
insane.
Oh, okay. And here's another couple movie titles that you'll find hilarious. We've got the Miminator and we've got the Little Mermime. Huh? You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And those are actual
God.
shells glued to my nipples. Just for those at home wondering how you do
Oh
that.
my God! You have got to be kidding me.
No, I'm not kidding. I wouldn't kid you about any.
How much
So-
time did it take for you guys to put this very funny book together?
Shot all the photos in 3 days. Photographer Eric Curtis.
3 days?
It was an amazing photographer.
It looks like 3 months of work.
A lot of photoshopping happened afterwards, and a lot of compositing and whatnot. But we had all the Connie Perry was our costumer. She supplied all the wigs and costumes and everything, and she lined it all up. And we had a storyboard ready to go for each shot and knew what we were doing. Boom, boom, boom.
Wow.
And got this whole thing knocked out in 3 days. But then it took another year and a half for it to come out. So we shot
Wow.
it. This is what I was doing instead of The Hobbit, just so you know. Yeah. So
Now that is a beautiful, beautiful book. And
Great fun.
We find this printed by.
my very own book is printed by Medallion Press, and you can find it on Amazon.com. Do a Mime Very Own Book search there, and you'll find a discount currently in progress. You can also find it on BarnesandNoble.com. If you're not an online shopper, which I doubt that anyone watching a web show was not an online shopper, but
Yeah,
if
of
you're not,
course.
go into your Barnes & Noble, tell them you want this book, and if they don't have it in stock, they'll order it for you. Boom!
Love it! Yay!
Mime Very Own Book!
It's delicious.
And some Perrier.
Mr. Doug Jones, ladies and gentlemen. Here he's our live guest on Torn Tuesday, and now I think we are switching from camera B back to camera A.
Hey.
Hi,
Camera
everybody.
A. Welcome back, Camera A.
Well, speaking of what you were doing instead of The Hobbit, let's talk a little bit about one of the main reasons why we're here.
Sure.
There's a lot of love in the fantasy world for Guillermo del Toro.
Isn't there?
And so much, and deservedly so.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm still looking to get a copy of Kronos. I will find a copy
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
I've heard that there's a new Criterion collection that came out,
Okay.
and I'm going to get a copy, and I'm going to let you borrow it.
I went digging for it like a couple of years ago. I've never. That's the one film of his I've never seen.
It's remarkable.
I know.
And I saw it many, many years ago before anybody knew who he was.
Right.
And now, years later, Del Toro has developed such a great reputation in the fantasy marketplace that his attachment to co-writing and directing The Hobbit came to us as glorious news.
Right.
It was great news for all of us. We were very enthused. And here in this very building, in this room right downstairs, I've interviewed Guillermo.
Yeah.
And he was so excited about co-writing with Fran Walsh and Philippa Boyens and Peter Jackson. And then all of a sudden, time and many, many, many wicked circumstances came together in a strange confluence, conspiring against him. Poor Guillermo.
Yeah.
So William the Bull found himself, even after he was living down there in New Zealand for over a year,
Right.
and he'd moved his family down there. He put his kids in school, and he said, "My kids are starting to get a Kiwi accent in the school system." He's like,
That's a mix, yeah.
After being there for that much time,
Yeah.
everything conspired against him, and he had to leave the project, which left all of us wondering, WTF? I mean, really,
No,
we
seriously,
were
right?
all like, what's going to happen?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and so now here we are, back around a year later, and all the financial problems have been solved.
Right.
The Hobbit movies are full tilt ahead. There's going to be the first film released in December of this year, and you, sir,
Yes.
were sort of involved and yet not involved. And there was so much anticipation.
It's been rumor city for me.
Yes.
Can I walk you through a timeline?
Please do.
Can we just kind of do a little timeline
Let's do
with
it.
some bullet points?
Let's do
Let's
that.
go back to 2008, shall we?
Yes.
Okay. In 2008, the news hit the Webernet and the world that Guillermo del Toro would be directing The Hobbit. I was excited because I wanted to see his version of this, to see what his thumbprint would be on this franchise. You know.
Yes.
I love Peter Jackson, of course, and knowing that Peter was working in conjunction with him and all the pre-production, all of the writing, it was going to be great all around. I just knew it. Well, the rumors about my involvement with the film started that same day because we've done 4 films together. I do a lot of his fantasy creatures, and so everyone started asking, well, what's Doug going to play? So Guillermo del Toro. Shortly after this announcement, I was in a looping session for Hellboy 2: The Golden Army.
Yes.
A couple months before the movie was going to come out, so I'm in there doing my revoicing Abe Sapien, fixing up some dialogue, the Angel of Death, fixing up some dialogue, and while I had him there,
Yeah.
you know, we hadn't talked about anything, right? Just rumors flying about.
Yes.
So I said, "So, Guillermo, Hobbit, what?" And he said, "Oh yeah, well I'm directing it, and so I've got something for you. I've got something for Ron Perlman." And I was like, "Oh, that's and not trying to get too like about it. I was just like, "Oh yeah,"
Which
I was
is a
like- I was
natural
like,
reaction.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, "Oh, that sounds it sounds great. Well, let me know when whenever you yeah." Well, what his rule of thumb is that he doesn't want to tell me anything too specific too early on because if for heaven's sakes we don't get to make it, he doesn't want me to jump off a cliff, which I'm prone to do, get depressed when there's loss. If I feel a sense of loss over something I would love to do.
Yes.
He knows that well enough that he doesn't tell me jack nothing about what. He just, was just kind of like, so keep your calendar open, da-da. So that's all. And we let it go. I finished my voice session. Then a couple months later, we're on the red carpet of the Saturn Awards that year. That's the Sci-Fi Geek Oscars every year. And the Saturn Award was giving him a Lifetime Achievement Award that year. And we were on the red carpet doing the press line ahead of time. I was being interviewed. He walks up and joins me in this interview for somebody on camera. And whoever it was like, oh, this is great. We've got Doug and Guillermo together. Guillermo, can you answer for us? What do you have for Doug in The Hobbit? Right? And so I'm sitting there going like, ooh.
I'd like to know too.
So I said, Guillermo, tell the nice fellow what answer the man. Right? So Guillermo, in his very charming way, he says, "Oh well, I don't have any details that I can give right now, but I can say this: if I direct a hemorrhoid commercial, Doug Jones will be in it." which is
he did
very
not say
him.
that.
He indeed said that. Of course, I would probably play an anus or a hemorrhoid, I'm sure, or an anus with a hemorrhoid.
He is so funny.
But yeah, so
He's so
funny. So that was his way of saying
Oh,
no details, but of course, if there's a costume character, I will, that Doug would be right for, I would have him in it. So
again, he was non-committal with
he
the
didn't-
real details.
exactly, he didn't deny nor did he confirm anything with public or with me. So that was 2008. 2009. A full year later, I'm at Comic-Con in San Diego promoting Legion, which I was also in. I played the Ice Cream Man in Legion.
Yes.
And I'm doing a panel with Paul Bettany and Tyrese Gibson and our director Scott Stewart in Hall H of Comic-Con. You know, thousands and thousands of people. And it's like this big and backstage is like with publicists and big stars going on for their next panels and blah, blah, blah. We get done with our panel for Legion, and I'm walking off the stage, backstage area, just hubbub of like big famous people and publicists everywhere. I feel a tug on my arm, and I'm like, I look down, and there's this nice little man. I said, hello, and he said, hello, Mr. Jones. I'm Peter Jackson.
Are you serious?
I'm not kidding you.
Out of nowhere?
No, out of nowhere. Out of nowhere. Out of nowhere, Peter Jackson is tugging on my arm, right? I'm not kidding. No, I wish I was kidding. I'm not, actually, I'm glad I'm not kidding, because this was an exciting moment. Can you imagine?
I can't.
It's like he recognized me and wanted to say hi.
Okay.
I've never met him before. And the reason I didn't recognize him is because he'd lost like 100 pounds. That was the year that he'd done this.
He went on his yogurt and granola diet,
which
was a little crazy.
There you go.
And he shed so much
a gazillion
weight.
pounds.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
And so I just thought, what a cute little man, because he was.
and you actually gave the "How can I help you" to Peter Jackson?
Yes. What would you like, little fella? Yeah. Can you imagine? And he said, so I wet myself. And he goes on to say this, right? He goes, now imagine Peter Jackson saying this to you.
Okay.
He goes on to say, "It's an honor to meet you, and I do hope we'll be seeing more of you soon." Okay, now, so I'm trying to act cool, like, yes, that would be. I hope so too, Peter Jackson. And hey,
he was winking at you, saying
he was giving me a wink, wink, nudge, nudge, and of
Yeah.
course I knew in my head I'm going, that's Hobbit talk, that's Hobbit talk. I know, that's Hobbit talk, because they were in the middle of that whole season in pre-production in New Zealand, and Guillermo del Toro was down there and living there, like you said, and that was in the middle of that time frame. So I left that little hello, how are you in the hubbub, and was just like. Okay, that's good news. So that means I've been talked about with the bigwigs. That's good. Now let's jump ahead to 2010. That's the last I heard of anything. 2010, Guillermo del Toro has to pull himself off of the project. Now, tons of rumors flight around about why, and I have no answers for that. Guillermo has never talked to me about this. In fact, I saw him shortly after that announcement at Comic-Con 2010. When you and I saw each other.
Yes.
Yes.
We were at the Gentle Giant booth.
The Gentle Giant booth, and
Actually,
Guillermo del Toro and I were doing a figure signing of the Gentle Giant Fawn and Pale Man characters that they had created just for Comic-Con that year.
Yes.
That was my first time seeing him in a long time, and that's almost 2 years ago. That's the last time I saw him in person, right?
Yeah.
So we don't hang out every day. I don't scramble his eggs in the morning and go, Guillermo, do you want onions this time? And people think that I just, that I got the. He doesn't answer my emails either. Just so you know, anybody who's written to him. Comic-Con 2010. After he's made the announcement that I'm going to go with the public story that he gave. That's because that's all I know, and that would be that he had other commitments coming up. The Hobbit shoot had been postponed because of all of the political and financial problems that it was going through with the different studios, and you all know more about that than I do, honestly.
Yes, we've lived through that for quite a while.
You have.
We have.
And bless your souls for that. So December's going to be good, isn't it? After all,
right.
It really
most of us are just relieved that there's going to be any Hobbit movie
at all.
Yeah,
after all that, exactly.
It was a lot. Yeah,
exactly. So anyway, he. Pulling himself off the project, then rumors about me kind of also continued after that. Well, is Doug still going to be in it? Because no one ever knew. Now, in the meantime, I also saw Mike Mignola. Did lunch with him and his lovely wife. My wife, Mrs. Laurie, and Christine Mignola, and Mike. We all get along really well. We met for lunch one day, and we're talking about life and love and blah blah blah. Well, Mike Mignola had just gotten back from New Zealand. Mm-hmm. I'm going back in the timeline a little bit. He just gotten back from there because as this article in whatever what's the magazine? It's
SFX.
SFX magazine came out. There's talk of Mike Mignola in this article That
It says, now we're going to talk about this new SFX magazine.
Yeah.
It comes out on newsstands tomorrow.
Yeah.
But it says here, in addition to famed Tolkien artists John Howe and Alan Lee, who we all know worked on the trilogy with Weta, doing a lot of designs and a lot of character and creature designs, Del Toro had hired comic book artists Mike Mignola and Wayne Barlow to work on designs for The Hobbit when he was still actively on it.
Right, and the reason for that is, at least with Mike Mignola, I don't know much about his connection with Wayne, but with Mike Mignola, Guillermo pulls Mike in for most of his film shoots. He started on Blade 2 to get Mike Mignola's artistic sensibilities to weigh in on the art direction of the film. He consulted on everything from all the Hellboys, of course, because that's his property that he started in the comic books. But also Pan's Labyrinth, and then here he was running over to New Zealand to have a look at what they've done so far and to give advice, counsel, whatever Guillermo wants from Mike Mignola. Right. He does trust his opinion so much.
Yeah.
Mike Mignola told me that so of course now this is while Guillermo was still on the project. So I'm asking Mike, so you were in New Zealand, you were at Weta, you saw some stuff. Talk to me, and of course I'm feeling like very selfish. Like, what does he have in mind for me? Because no one would tell me like what character was in mind for me, and so
you just had stars in your eyes this whole time, and you had been strung along
for years.
For years.
Yes.
Now I want you guys to put some perspective on this
2008 was 4 years ago.
Unbelievable.
Just so you know.
This man has been waiting and had been waiting and waiting with clenched teeth.
Yes.
I'm surprised you didn't grind your beautiful teeth to powder at this point,
Right.
because we just wanted the glorious films in our movie theaters.
Yes.
This guy wants his livelihood and his job. Very
Sure.
different stakes, okay?
And of course,
Just saying.
Right, and with that, not knowing, is it a small part he had in mind for me, or a larger part? Would I be down in New Zealand for 2 weeks or 2 years?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
So
it's a big commitment.
So it's crazy to plan, and anyway, so I asked Mike, did you happen to see anything with my name on it down there? His answer was, well,
yes.
And Mike Mignola is very much like, he doesn't, he's a crazy, sarcastic guy, and he talks like this, and he's like, and I don't know, Guillermo's crazy, I don't know, they get along with a great sense of humor.
A little bit like Jerry Seinfeld, a little bit.
Kind of like Jerry Seinfeld. Really? He's a little Jerry Seinfeld. Mike, and I love him.
I love you, Mike.
I love you, Mike, I do, and I love Jerry Seinfeld, so this is why it's all about the love.
That's funny.
So Mike's answer kind of was, I don't know, we were walking through the shop, and we're passing a maquette of some design, and Guillermo says, oh, that's Doug. And so I'm like, and what did it look like? Right? Can you tell? He says, oh, I don't know. It was tall, thin, and white. I don't know. I said, well, you just described me. So, so what? There was a maquette of me, just like Doug Jones. So that wasn't any help, was it?
No.
But and this is probably good because I don't know. Okay, so let's jump ahead then. That's all the information I got out of that. He gets pulled off of he pulls himself off the project in 2010.
Yes.
And then at some point later in the year, my IMDb credits, boop boop, The Hobbit's missing now because it was on there as a rumored thing for almost 2 years.
Right.
Then it was pulled off. So
yes.
I figured the powers that be knew better than I did and had the power to take those things off. I never
looked and saw your IMDb page had changed.
It changed, right.
And that was one of your first indications.
Right. And those are missing.
Wow,
So
come
that's
on.
fine. So whatever was in mind for me with Guillermo not directing now, I imagine that it could have come down to something as simple as money. It could have come down to it's a role they could hire locally in New Zealand. They were doing a lot of that, right?
Yes.
It could come down to maybe a friend of Peter Jackson's that Guillermo wasn't involved with was
right.
more in mind for it. Now let's talk about Andy Serkis in the meantime too. I get a lot of questions
yes.
about Andy Serkis as he does about me because we're both kind of known for a niche of acting, right?
Yes. Well, creating not more. I think the word is breathing life into what otherwise would be a completely imaginary thing, you know, but because you have physical actors there, like what Andy does with motion capture, and what you're physically doing on set, it makes it so much more real and more palpable, more viable as part of the story. Yeah, of course.
So I would love to address all the questions and comments I get about Andy Serkis all the time, right here on theonering.net. And that would be, is there a rivalry? Heck no, there's no rivalry. I love him, I admire him, I adore him, and apparently he likes me too, because I read an article somewhere that that was asking him, you know, where the interviewer was asking him, what about Doug Jones? Do you know each other? Do you hang out? And he was saying, no, he's never met me. He admires my work, and he can't wait to work with me on The Hobbit. That's when it was still maybe a go.
Yes.
So he obviously also had heard the same rumblings that I had a role in the Hobbit somewhere. And so there's love, and anytime I'm asking about Andy Serkis, I have nothing but good to say about him. I love him, I adore him. He's on my top 10 list of otherworldly creature actors I've ever worked with. And in fact, that list is on ranker.com, R-A-N-K-E-R, ranker.com. If you do a Doug Jones search there, you'll find my top 10 list of my favorite costume character work ever.
Really?
And I put Andy Serkis on there. Actually,
That's
I
fantastic.
loved him as Gollum, but he made my list for King Kong, to be honest with you, because it was it affected me in such a way. So anyway,
that was remarkable.
Remarkable, yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
It was really good.
Also done by Weta Digital.
And his stuff as Caesar on Rise of the Planet of the Apes is heartbreaking and amazing.
Yeah.
Shame on the Academy for not nominating Andy Serkis.
There's some controversy
Shame
starting right
on the
here.
Academy. I've been doing this for a long time, so I'm sure that I'll never get one. That's fine.
Right.
I've been shaking my finger at AMPAS for a long time, but AMPAS. Here's the thing.
Amp ass.
That's
That's what you're calling him.
amp ass. That's what it sounds like.
Up your amp ass. I did not just say that. I'm sorry.
I'm going to follow that up with Andy Serkis, as you may or may not know, has opened up in England a new studio and sort of like a university or a workshop for motion capture actors and performers.
I did not
It's
know
called
about this.
The Imaginarium. And that's his new endeavor. And one,
fantastic.
Yes, he's created this school. It's going to be a school for motion capture artwork and for artists who do what you do. And this is niche work, but it seems to be expanding and changing. And the active role of what you guys are doing in filmed entertainment and video games seems to be expanding by leaps and bounds.
Yeah.
Would you sense that?
I totally would, yeah. Well, especially with the gaming world. Now performance capture, motion capture, whatever you want to call it, is not something I've done much of myself. I did it in a commercial once. I've never done it really in a film. When I did The Silver Surfer, people thought that was performance capture. Weta Digital did the coding on me, but I wore a costume and makeup every day that made me look like the Silver Surfer. I was filmed and then tinkered with in post-production.
Yes.
So it was not me with dots and a green leotard.
Yes.
So it was. I've never really done what Andy Serkis does. However, we're both actors who affect characters. My makeup goes on before the film. His goes on after. That's the only difference, really, that I see. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, I see many great common denominators in between both of your styles of work. And I would be remiss if I did not ask you, what do you think would be the next stage? Let's point out an example of Robert Zemeckis, who was one of my favorite directors. He has said on record that he's no longer going back to shoot live-action films. He'll be doing motion capture animation, like his version of Dickens' A Christmas Carol with Jim Carrey, and of course Polar Express and Beowulf. So if we're ever going to see a great director like Zemeckis do another live-action film like Forrest Gump or Death Becomes Her, it's not going to happen. Zemeckis is never turning back to live-action films. And a lot of other. I see. Now this is interesting to
I
me.
would say never say never, though.
Well,
When
you know,
he's
that's
80,
what they
he'll probably
say.
come back and do a romantic comedy.
He
You know
may,
what I'm saying?
yes, he may. He
exactly.
may. I mean, even David Bowie once said, "I'm going to retire these songs and never play them again."
And how many times has Cher retired?
Exactly.
You know, just-
exactly.
yeah.
There's a marketing game going on there, I think.
yeah.
But I mean, the evolution of the art form seems to be moving so fast forward
Yeah.
that there are many more jobs tailored for actors who have these physical skills, and not for regular daytime soap opera actors who are floundering hopeless, and they would never get the video game jobs where you do mocap. They would never get
And
those
they may not
jobs.
even want them. And here's the good news. Here's the good news. I don't think that anyone. I get asked about this kind of thing all the time. Are computer graphics going to take over entertainment? I'll tell you. There's an audience for everything, and I think the good news is that the audience is huge and growing. Entertainment is bigger now than it's ever been, with more portals to watch things in and
Yes.
to experience entertainment than ever before. Right?
Yes.
You can watch movies in the palm of your hand, for crying out loud. So, I say there's a market for this new thing. Absolutely, there's all these visuals and video games come to life, and video game turned movies like Doom that I was in. Don't ever watch it. I didn't care for it. But
Oh, that movie of Doom.
Doom, yeah, with Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
Yes.
Yeah, I was all the imp creatures in that. So
Oh, really?
yes,
Oh, gosh.
yes, I was. Yeah, but, you know,
Oh,
but it was a
gosh.
movie of people running around hallways going and saying the F word and shooting things. It was like there wasn't enough. There wasn't enough going on for me.
No,
but
no.
I don't want to poo-poo a movie I was in. But I well shot. It looked good. But so you know,
Yes.
okay. So anyway, but there's an audience for this for effects-driven movies.
Mm-hmm.
Is there still an audience for frock dramas where ladies are sitting sipping tea and a man in a tailcoat with witty dialogue? Absolutely. That audience will never go away either. There's room for all of it. There's room for all of it. And
Yes.
none of it's going to take over anything else. And there's no need in a frock drama with sipping tea. There's no need for 3D or for visual effects or explosions. So,
True.
so I think none of it's dead, and there's just more becoming alive every day. I think that's the good news.
I agree.
There you go.
That's very. Now, this is another realm that you know a lot about, and that is poor dwarf actors having to be under the makeup chair for 3 or 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah.
Now, on average, I read on IMDb that your preparation to do Abe Sapien
Yeah.
in the Hellboy movies would be 3 to 6 hours ahead of time to get ready in the morning, and another 3 hours at the end of shooting to take the makeup off.
I'll skew that slightly. In Hellboy 1,
Yes.
if I was shirtless, and that would mean a lot of fish guys showing with just wearing the shorts, and they had a lot of blue to put on me.
Yes.
Right? 12 prosthetic pieces, blended edges, painting on the skin, everything, including mechanics and the gills and da-da-da-da. 7 hours. It was a 7-hour application to get me head to toe ready, 2 hours to get me out of it at the end of the day. Now,
Wow.
with 10 or 12 hours of filming in between. So doing an 18-hour day was quite standard. Hellboy 2, The
That's
Golden Army.
nuts.
No, it's nuts.
That's nuts.
Hellboy
Doug.
2, The Golden Army. They got that streamlined down to 5 hours of preparation. So
Really?
So, yeah.
Okay,
so
it
it's
also
still a long time.
It also said that the makeup people might have asked you to leave some of the pieces on overnight.
The makeup
so
people
the next
have
morning.
never. Yes.
Okay.
It happened, but they never asked.
Oh,
I
okay.
offered.
Oh.
I would offer to say, because their job is to clean you up, and my makeup artists are the best artists in the world. I
Yeah.
have worked with all the Oscar-nominated people in the world.
Yeah.
And they would never dream of leaving an actor with stuff on them.
Yes.
The cleanup is every bit as important as the application.
Yes.
So, it was my idea though. When you're looking at okay, my call time tomorrow is what, and you want us to clean up until when? Okay, if we're just going to scrub this off and then put it all back on in 3 hours,
Yes.
let's just leave it on and let's get a few more hours of sleep, everybody.
Yes.
And they were kind of like, oh, are you sure, Doug? Because you don't have to. I'm like, no, I'm absolutely positive. I want to sleep. You want to sleep? Let's do that. So I've done it a couple times where I've left some things on. My head and hands I usually want off. you
Yes.
know.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
Like for Pan's Labyrinth, the Pale Man, this guy.
Yeah.
That was a silicone.
That is the greatest and most
Oh,
terrifying
it was-
thing
it
ever.
was a great character that I was honored to play. But,
Yeah.
But that I left on the torso and the arms, and we just took the hands and the head off, undone, because the rest was multiple pieces glued onto my skin. Every inch of it was glued onto my entire torso, front and back. That we just went ahead and just leave it.
Really?
Yep, for 4 days. Now, That was the best shower I've ever had in my life on that Friday night. Can I tell you that? Can I tell you that? Can I tell you
No
that?
way.
Yeah.
I believe that.
Yeah. But
I bet
again,
you the pores of your skin were like, breathe,
Right,
breathe,
right.
finally.
And we didn't tell Guillermo del Toro about it because he would have been angry at me for not cleaning up all the way. But I didn't care. I wanted those extra hours of sleep. That for that many days, it made more sense to all of us. So
Yeah.
I never offer that up. I've had makeup artists or producers. I've had producers come to me on other movie shoots going, so Doug, we hear that sometimes you wear the stuff home and sleep in it. So I'm like, no, I do not do that. As a rule, no. So
Yeah.
they can't rely on that as a schedule maker.
Future makeup applications, just keep in mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Try to schedule where I don't have to do that would be ideal. Yes.
We know from watching all the behind the scenes from the Lord of the Rings trilogy that a lot of these dwarves, as you guys can see, here's the United Kingdom SFX magazine, and I'm going to show you guys a quick little insert. You guys have seen this many times before. They're doing a breakdown of all the 13 dwarves, and what we remember, what the Ringer fans remember most, is that our very own John Rhys Davies, who's one of our favorite actors.
Oh, gosh, he's lovely.
He was under a very difficult situation where he had to be in the makeup that burned his skin. He had terrible allergic reactions.
To latex foam?
To the type of things that they were using. And he had to suffer through it. He had to continue to be Gimli, son of Glowin, and to have all these action scenes with Orlando Bloom.
Yeah.
That was John there.
That's awesome.
And then he was underneath what was something that burned away the outer layers of his eyes. And he went on to lots of interviews and said, "Lord, help me, I don't know how I did it every morning." And how could you possibly handle it when you're that actor who needs to be under all the makeup?
I have no idea. Thankfully, I've never had an allergic reaction to something like that.
Yeah.
And most actors would say, I'm allergic, done, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Most would. So good on John Rhys Davies for having that kind of spitherynchthums and fortitude to get through it all.
I'll say
Wow.
fortitude with a
Yes.
capital F.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I'm reminded of The Wizard of Oz.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah.
it was
For the Tin Man, no?
No,
Was
it was
that
the Wicked Witch of the West.
Oh, yeah.
There was some.
Okay.
There were some kind of element or something in the green makeup that also caused a lot of problems with her skin.
Right. Oh, okay.
Yes, and that is something that I vaguely remember.
That I
I'm sure
hadn't-
that I'm sure that some of you guys remember
Someone
some
knows.
more details about this. But hello, is everybody here? Oh, look, we have 9,300 viewers
Well, hey,
on
Nick.
our show.
Hey,
hello, welcome, lots of love to you.
There's love to you.
For those guys who are joining us, welcome to Toro Tuesday. I'm going to do a little station identification. My name is Cliff Broadway, and I'm a writer, contributor for theonering.net. This is our web destination for all things to do with J.R.R. Tolkien and the worlds of The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. La 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 la. So, Hobbits are coming at you, my excellent and most adored by fans, star of Hellboy and Fantastic Four Silver Surfer and Pan's Labyrinth and many, many, many other exciting things.
Oh, hi, Nikki. I got to say hi to Nikki in Newfoundland.
No,
Okay,
is there
we're done.
Nikki in Newfoundland?
There is, but she's Tiger74.
Oh, yeah, hi. Oh, look, Tiger 74.
And Clay, hi from a puppy. Hi, Clay. Oh, is that Clay? If that's, I know. Oh, if that's you, I love you. Okay. Dougie,
So-
Katie Bacon. I love Katie Bacon. Oh, this is so fun. These are like a lot of my fan sapiens have tuned in here. Huggles, Dougie. Yay. Oh. Okay. Anyway. Oh,
Hey, look, there's my friend Danny. Hey, Danny.
Is that Spooky Dan?
No.
No.
This is my good friend Danny.
Well, Danny. Well, there's love for Danny.
Well, there's a lot of love for you, Danny. Good to see you.
Yeah,
Hey,
this
and
is so fun.
Sauron the Deceiver is here with us.
Isn't he, though?
Sauron, you can't deceive me. I'm not taking any of your magic trinkets. Not today.
Okay.
No, sir.
Okay.
No how. Okay.
He learned that the hard way.
Okay.
Didn't he?
Yeah, we did. So we have the chance to chit-chat live with all of our fans. And yes, good Lord, the Doug Jones fans have taken over the chat. Well, that's excellent. Yes, Jenny.
Aw, not taking over. Not taking over. Just let them join in today and
They should.
and join the love today. Because you know what? Because of all the Hobbit rumors that have been going around for 4 years about me, anybody who's been following my career really has been interested in what's the final outcome going to be of that. And I can let me just reiterate the outcome. I am not in the Hobbit movies, unfortunately for me.
Very sad.
But But I've moved on to other projects in the meantime.
Well,
like the Mime book,
like this
Mime Brain
delicious.
book.
Well, the fans.
also-
you were going to say sorry.
Oh, and also I just finished a movie called Neighborhood Watch with Ben Stiller, Vince Vaughn, and Jonah Hill.
Neighborhood Watch.
Neighborhood Watch.
This looks funny.
It looks funny.
I read some details
And
about
there's some
this.
controversy around it now too because of the shooting that happened in Florida with the Neighborhood Watch guy. What
yes.
timing? What kind of timing?
That's weird timing.
Yeah, it's really weird timing.
Well,
right.
the Trayvon Martin tragedy, which is a heartbreaking thing that has nothing to do with this movie that we're talking about, seems to have only the illusion of coincidence. Let's just call it that.
Right.
This Neighborhood Watch movie, I read about this. There's a group of husbands who want to take a break from their nagging wives, and so they invent a fake Neighborhood Watch group so they can go out and drink and run around and do their own thing.
Well, Vince Vaughn's character, they meet in his garage, and
Yes.
that's where the pool table and the beer is, and,
Yes.
and the fart jokes.
and
Yeah,
then
exactly.
And then the aliens show up.
Well, yeah, they're a useless team of Neighborhood Watch guys until
Yes.
the alien invasion, and that would be where I would come in.
Oh, awesome. I
in-
can't wait.
In a very
I can't wait.
Ghostbusters-like setting where you've got comedy meeting sci-fi, you've got Ben Stiller, Vince Vaughn, Jonah Hill, and Richard Iowata, who plays the fourth Neighborhood Watch guy. You might know him from the IT Crowd if you're a British TV watcher.
Oh, that's funny stuff.
Yeah, funny stuff.
Yeah.
And then I would bring the sci-fi element or the scary element to. I'm the main alien bad guy that invades the neighborhood. They haven't really released that part of the marketing just yet because right now the teaser trailers have just been the guys rolling down the street and kind of like with that bling 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 that rap music.
Yeah.
Somebody, you kids will know, playing in the background. But there's your basic premise. We can talk more about it as they release the next phase of marketing, which they're going to do soon now because of this whole hubbub with the shooting that happened. But because that incident has nothing to do with our movie, because of this alien element, we're nothing like. It's not about people at all, after all.
Yes.
So it's all good. But that is going to be released in theaters July 27th. So that's what I've been doing instead of The Hobbit as well.
Yes.
Yes.
And a lot of fans have also been sending me Twitters on my Twatter book, asking me to ask you about Frankenstein.
Oh well, okay. Now, since on the tail of our Guillermo del Toro discussion,
Yes.
Another thing that he announced. Oh gosh, also in 2008. In fact, it was at the Hellboy 2 premiere on the red carpet. A journalist said to me, "Hey, Doug, I just talked to Guillermo del Toro, and he said he's going to do his own Frankenstein movie." And I said, "Oh, well, that's great. He's perfect. He's wanted to do that all of his life. That movie and that book inspired him as a kid to want to be the monster maker that he is now."
Yeah.
And so he said, "Oh, no, that's not the best news." I asked him who would play his Frankenstein's monster, and he said, "Oh, of course, Doug Jones." That's when I went weak in the knees and was like, oh God, seriously. Oh God, no, oh God. So then I found out later that, I went home that night and did anything I could do to find out what is he talking about, because I'm thinking Boris Karloff, whom I love and adore and revere, a bigger, stockier, lumbering Frankenstein, I wouldn't come to mind, I wouldn't think, for that kind of a role. Well, Guillermo del Toro was basing his Frankenstein monster on the artwork of Bernie Wrightson, who did an illustrated version of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein.
Yes, he did.
Published by Dark Horse.
Yeah.
And it is gorgeous. And when you see the monster's imagery in Bernie Wrightson's, with his hand at it, it's a longer, leaner, more sinewy, pathetic-looking character. And I just fell in love with that imagery. So it is still in development at Universal Pictures. Last I heard was like August of last year in the summer. Guillermo turned in his a treatment synopsis to the studio. But now, of course, he's in Toronto working on Pacific Rim. He's got another movie he's hip deep in. So how much is being done on Frankenstein right now? I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. But it's still in the works as far as I know. And that's still on my IMDb page as in development. So let's hope.
That's fantastic. Well, that's very exciting. I know that Universal will never, ever turn down an opportunity to relive their great classic monsters.
Glory monsters, yeah.
Yes, but I mean, that iconic character. Wow.
Well, no,
that's just such an iconic.
That's what I'm saying.
That's so iconic.
So if this comes through and I do get to play this role, I think that's the year I die, because what do you do after that? What do you do after that? That would be the kind of like the pinnacle of one's career, wouldn't it? I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's hope. Let's hope it all happens.
I'm thrilled.
Yeah.
I hope that does happen.
You
well,
and me both. Okay.
from our lips to God's ears.
He listens. He listens.
Yes,
I know
the
he
universe. Yes, absolutely. He's out there running things, or trying to pretend that he's not. But it's happening.
letting us make our own mistakes too
Yeah,
along
of
the
course.
way, so we learn.
We
We
do.
wouldn't learn otherwise.
Well, there's this is fascinating to be in such a mercurial business. How do you keep your temperament, which is so kind and so open? You're
The same
very
way you
open.
do Clifford Scott Broadway. What's the alternative? Being a curmudgeon? I don't know.
True.
I don't know. I am a skinny geek from Indiana. I was a teenage boy with
Youngest of four.
youngest of four boys,
Right.
with no meat on my bones, no athletic ability, with dreams in my head of being somebody one day, and working in Hollywoodland, and being on the TV set that I saw my Dick Van Dyke and my Don Knotts and my Carol Burnett on when I was a kid.
Some of your influences.
Absolutely,
Yes.
yes.
Yeah.
And Gomer Pyle. I love Jim Neighbors. Yeah. So it was
hysterical.
okay, right, yeah. I grew up with that, thinking like, oh, if I could just be like that when I grow up. So now, I'm living that dream. I'm working and living in Hollywoodland. I have people out there that know who I am, that follow my work. It means the world to me. That's why I love doing the convention circuit, where I get to go out and meet all of you.
Yes.
In a forum that we all can meet each other in public, and that's why I hug every person that comes up to my table, because you helped me buy my house. So I want to say thank you. I love you for that. Blah, 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 blah. You know?
Yeah.
So there's love. So I have zero reason to be down in the mouth about anything. Yeah, there are missed opportunities. Like when The Hobbit went away from me, I was like, oh, well, that was disappointing. But when one door closes, another opens, as they always say, or you
Yes.
go crashing through a window. Whatever it is, something else can happen.
A good old Harold Lloyd routine. Right out the window.
Exactly.
I love it. I love hearing something about your influences.
Yeah.
I was also influenced a lot by a lot of imagery that was in pop culture in the 70s and 80s. And I was particularly inspired by the physical comedy of Carol Burnett. And
Yes.
she's amazing.
Amazing.
She has recently done a voiceover job for
Yeah.
the Japanese animated
Anime,
version
right.
of The Borrowers,
Right.
which is beautiful.
Is
If
it?
you
I haven't seen it yet. I
you
saw
haven't?
all of her interviews on late night TV regarding that movie, but yeah.
She's great.
Is she great?
She plays the housekeeper
Yeah.
who is trying not to lose her marbles, proving the existence of these little 3-inch people.
Yeah.
And the movie is called The Secret World of Arietti.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
It's
okay,
really
okay,
fantastic.
good.
But that kind of comic sense.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know, how early on did you develop this kind of physical comedy
right.
sense that
Right.
you're so instinctually good at, and how is it that you do? I know this is going to sound like a broad question, but
Okay.
where did your earliest inklings start that you thought the stage is for me,
Mm-hmm.
the screen that's the life for me? Hi, diddle-dee-dee, an actor's life for me. When did you sing that? When did you first sing that song?
Well, I've never actually sung that song from start to. I don't even know the words. But Clifford, I would say it was the awkward growing up years in school. Being a tall, skinny, goofy kid, other kids make fun of that. Other kids are ruthless, and when you're, so in order to develop a defense mechanism for it, you walk in the room being funny. Dang it! If they're going to laugh at me, I'm going to control win, right?
Yeah,
So that's kind of where, and I got that inspiration from my best friend at home, which was my TV, and getting that comic timing and sense from a Barney Fife kind of character that Don Knotts played, or a Gomer Pyle, or all of the characters
Yes.
on Carol Burnett, Mary Tyler Moore, and Bob
She was
Newhart
great.
shows. I love that
Yes.
Saturday Night lineup.
And then you put Don Knotts on screen with John Ritter at the same time.
right,
And you
right,
have
no, you got-
two
you got Three's
kings of
Company.
physical comedy. Yeah,
Exactly.
the
Totally
greatest
is,
physical
yeah.
comedy you could get.
Right. So there are a lot of, and even like the old I Love Lucy show.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Lucy in whatever happens now too, just because of that sense of thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
And a lot of physicality came from those shows too.
Yeah.
So that was the early thing. Just me wanting to do this because I was terrified of what people thought of me. So I would do this to distract them from what they thought of me.
Yeah.
Let's just laugh about it instead. So I think that's where it all came from, and thankfully there's a place in my career for all that now. You know.
Very much so.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to give you some acknowledgement that I'm continually amazed that you can do what you do, buried under tons of all that shit.
Well, it's very
I mean,
kind of you.
just
Thank you.
forgive my French. We don't ever usually cuss on this show.
That wasn't French.
That was. But I'm serious. I mean, when I see this angel of death creature in the Golden Army,
Thank you.
it is such a breathtaking design.
It was
and
a
yet
beautiful design.
Still, you are able to bring out. You can emote the matter of life and death. You can put the stakes on the screen, and you let everyone know how high the stakes are, and yet we never really see you. And you still make the stakes higher and higher for the characters, especially in Pan's Labyrinth, like nothing else. It's the most amazing, terrifying thing that I think is in my living memory. And I've been terrified by a lot. Poltergeist, when I was a little boy, terrified the living guts out of me. It was one of the greatest.
Right.
But now I watch Pan's Labyrinth, and it's so visceral, and it captures your imagination. But Guillermo knows how to work with you. You know how to work with him, and you guys have a good thing going.
We got a good thing, and we don't have to talk much. That's the fun part of it. When characters are being developed for a film, he might have a sit down with me before we start filming. You know, with like if he wants to see a quirk in something or not. He'll tell me, and then I'll work on it, and then I'll come back, and if I'm getting it right, he won't have to say anything about it. Playing the El Fauno, the faun in Pan's Labyrinth.
El Fauno.
There's a famous picture of us looking face to face with each other, where of me dressed up in my faun outfit and him, looking at me this way, and we were it looks like a posed photo of us together, like
Yes.
director and actor.
Yes.
It was actually a very candid moment of us having a conversation on the set. We were about a week and a half into the filming, and he was sat down with me to say, "Doug, I know you haven't heard much direction from me on this so far." And I said,
He does talk like that,
he
by
does
the way.
talk like that, yeah.
He really does.
So I said, yeah, no, I mean, I know, but that's all right. He goes, "Well, it's because you're getting it right. If you're getting it wrong, I'll let you know."
He said that?
It's that easy. It's just that simple. Yeah. So, yeah. And
Brilliant.
We have a kind of a shorthand. He told me with the faun. One note that he gave me was, as far as the way the feet hit the ground. I was going to be wearing that wacky leg design that was going to be all.
Were they like half stilts?
Kind of like it. Yeah. I was up. I was about 7 feet tall, so I was up on stilt things with a prosthetic leg piece that made a zigzag shape, and they green screened half of my leg out. But I still was manipulating a practical leg on screen.
Right.
Was not added in later in CG. It was just they wiped my leg out in CG.
Okay.
But how the steps were to happen, he's wanted me to have a look at barnyard animals. Look at goats and cows and look at their hind quarter. How does that hoof meet the ground? And how do they shake flies off? And what are little ticks that happen in a because I was half goat, half man, with a little bit of tree thrown in somewhere, right? So it was how do you study for a character like that? Well, that's you sit with a crazy man, and then he tells you something like that, and like, oh, okay, I got it. So I think we pulled it off okay. Then the Angel of Death, he basically with Angel of Death in Hellboy 2: The Golden Army, he told me that character is going to be sort of androgynous, as because if angels are neither male nor female, what are they? Let's come up with our own interpretation.
Right.
And that would be that there's sort of this he/she Angel of Death character, and so I saw the design. It was stunningly beautiful, yet haggard and old looking in a way.
Yes.
So it's like I kind of asked him about this, and he said I was on the right track. That the Angel of Death's purpose is to bring Hellboy to his death. That's the Angel of Death. That's why I was created. I am Hellboy's death. I've been waiting for quite a long time. It's going to be a while.
Yes.
So I've faded a bit. That's why when you find me in the movie, I'm kind of playing a game on the ground, like.
Yes.
And so, but when I stand up and realize it's him in front of me for the first time, like, Anang Unrama, right? We did the voice. We did
I love that. That is so cool.
2 passes of the voice, by the way.
That is so cool.
In post-production, I went back because my teeth were so big in that character. Dentures in that were so big, I couldn't enunciate anything. So I went back in post-production and did a 1 pass of the voice, up here like this, I am his death. And then I did another pass of the voice, down here like this, in a sort of a low, gravelly whisper. They ran those together, and that's what you come up with the Angel of Death now, if you go back and listen to it.
Cool.
So I presented myself, though, as though I'm still as beautiful as I ever was.
Yes.
That's why I look so, as I'm unveiling myself, like, I'm here, I am his death. And it's like, I have no idea how hideous I look. And that's the beauty of it, somehow. So that all worked, and Guillermo rarely, he didn't give, again, we didn't have to talk much, because it was all kind of there. He writes it in so well, and he writes for me so well, that we just kind of get each other. Another character I played in Hellboy 2, The Golden Army, was the Chamberlain. The Chamberlain was a kind of a squared-off, flat-headed, flat-faced, white, pale character with long, spindly fingers.
I remember those fingers, yes.
Yeah, and I greeted Prince Nuada, played by Luke Goss, as he came to the underworld to confront his elven father, the Elf King.
Great design for those elves.
Oh my gosh.
So different from Tolkien's elves, and so cool.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So beautifully done. So as he comes in to the chamber before going into the throne room, hello, welcome home, sire. Before you enter the council chambers, you must surrender your weapons. So that's that scene.
Yeah.
All he said, all Guillermo del Toro said about that character, the only piece of direction he gave me at all was pre-production, before I ever had the makeup on. He said, Doug, when thinking about the Chamberlain, I just want him to be sort of, ew. And that's all he said. He made a facial expression, a noise, and a finger movement, and I was like, done, got it. And, yeah, never had to say another word about it. So, ew. Exactly. So we just, I got it.
I'm going to remember that.
So we kind of get each other, yeah.
That's hysterical.
He's a great director. He understands his actors better than we do. We understand ourselves. He knows what'll motivate us and all that.
He does.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Well, I think that it would be a dream to work with someone like Del Toro on an adaptation of an H.P. Lovecraft story, one of my favorites, At the Mountains of Madness.
Another title that was in the works.
Is it ever going to happen?
And isn't now? I don't know. Well,
yes, I heard that. Now, Justin, you guys remember our technical director, Justin, is in the background. Justin, didn't the studio have a problem with the story not having any female characters at all?
No, it was just a change with the Comcast merger and everything like that. They took all the money that was going to go into Mountains of Madness, and they put it into Battleship.
Oh, this was Universal shifting money around.
Yeah.
Well, Battleship is not... no, let's just not talk about Battleship. Let's just... let's just say, in all honesty, because I'm a journalist and I have to report honestly.
Yes, you do.
There's a lot of ongoing bad buzz.
Is there?
Around Battleship.
Oh,
Yeah,
a
lot of bad
but
buzz.
The big question of the year is, what's going to make more money? Batman, Hobbit,
oh yes.
Hunger Games.
We're always back to this. What movies, the biggest movies we have this year, and they're all science fiction fantasy films, what's going to make the most money in box office? Christopher Nolan returning to do his third and final chapter for The Dark Knight Rises.
That's going to be a big one.
The Avengers comes out.
That's going to be huge.
Yes, and that's what they said about John Carter.
Well, now.
Of Mars.
I know.
Okay.
I know.
Of Mars. So
John Carter wouldn't have gotten as much bad press as it did if they hadn't spent so much money making it. It had a respectable opening weekend, didn't it? $30 million or something. That's a good weekend. That's good.
Yeah, but not for a movie you've spent $300 million to make.
That's the problem. There's the problem. But otherwise, I think it did. I haven't seen it yet myself to know. I've missed a lot. The next one
is what?
Avengers, and then now
April, I think. Yeah.
Hunger Games has completely wiped out Wrath of the Titans this weekend for box office.
Wow.
Even on Friday, Saturday, Sunday night, it beat it every night in a row in box office receipts. So what else do we have to look forward to as the year goes on? The biggest movies that people are anticipating are probably, and I'll go A, B, and C, seriously, the Chris Nolan Dark Knight Rises.
Yes.
Avengers, certainly a lot of anticipation for that. And then see The Hobbit. And
I'd say.
what do you think is going to make the most money out of all these movies this year?
That's a toughie. I'm not.
You're not feeling prognosticating today?
I can't predict well.
Okay.
Well, but, if we're just going to take some formulaic things here, the Avengers has Captain America, Thor, the Hulk. Who else is in it? Iron Man.
Yes.
Well, duh. And
Yeah.
all of those films had huge audiences of their own. So, will they? A lot of overlap, of course, but that's a lot of fans from a lot of characters coming together in one film. That could blast them all. I don't know. Maybe it could. I don't know.
We'll see.
But for our sake today, I'd like to say The Hobbit. I would.
Yay.
Because,
Yay.
No, because the Lord of the Rings trilogy, that audience has been salivating for the Hobbit movies to come out, and so I think, and that's far and wide. How did the box office do for that? It wasn't not one of the biggest rake-ins ever.
When New Line Cinema released the Lord of the Rings trilogy, each of the 3 films made $1 billion plus
There you go.
worldwide
Yeah.
before closing its theatrical run. We're not even talking about additional money from home video.
Home video, right? So
Or
that's
television
just
licensing.
unheard of money. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's stupid money.
So
yeah.
3.3 billion, and then all the awards.
Yeah, yeah.
And speaking of all the amazing Oscars that they had for Lord of the Rings movies, we expect more Oscar nominations for The Hobbit.
I would hope so.
And
yeah.
I'm inviting you personally,
Me personally?
right now,
Okay.
live on this show.
Uh-oh, here goes.
I'm inviting you to come
to what?
to our Oscar party.
Oh.
We're going to do a big Oscar event
Oh.
that we did 3 in a row in previous years.
Did you?
And it's for the fans to get together and have a chance to dress up in some nice evening wear
Won't that be
and have a nice formal party.
Yeah.
And we do a big party, and it's going to be right down here, either at the Hollywood Athletic Club
Yeah.
or at one of these other locations here in Hollywood,
Okay.
really close to the Oscar. After the ceremony is over, the guys from Weta and Peter Jackson, they come to our party to hang out with the fans and visit. So you are more than welcome to come to our party. It is a
I'd say
wonderful
count.
time.
I don't have my calendar in front of me, but count me in.
Next February, last
Okay.
Sunday, next February, bring your lovely wife
I would bring the lovely Mrs. Laurie.
and your friends.
Yeah, I'll have a bus full.
Bring a bus full. Bring a short bus
yeah.
full of your.
Well, that's where my friends do live.
Yes.
Yeah, so-
Some questions about Frankenstein.
Yes.
A lot of people are hearing about.
Okay.
Okay. What questions do we have live in the
what
chat?
are we going?
What's the status of it? Are you gonna be Frankenstein, or are you gonna be mocap Frankenstein, or
No.
prosthetic?
Status on Frankenstein, I will reiterate this again, is that it is still in development at Universal Pictures. It's not in the pre-production stage, it's in development, which means there's not a full script yet as far as I knew. There was a storyline, a synopsis, a treatment, but not a full word-for-word script just yet. We're waiting for Guillermo to turn that in because he's working on something else right now, so it's going to be a minute. My attachment is still in place as far as I know. No one's told me otherwise. And I was at the Creature Effects makeup shop that was designing the Frankenstein monster makeup. I'm not going to tell you what shop that is. I don't want you to bombard them with, "Can I see it? Can I see it?" Okay. But I will tell you this much. I stuck my head in there one day. I was doing a voiceover job, and I stuck my head in to say, "Hey," to this particular creature shop. Mm-hmm. And they're like, "Oh, Doug, we're glad you're here. Come here. We want to show you something." And they pull a piece of trash bag off of this bust of me, a life-size life cast of me with a Frankenstein monster makeup on it.
Cool.
Based on the artwork of Bernie Wrightson.
I can't wait to see this book. I got to see this.
Well, let me tell you, my reaction to that was, right? Tears welled up in my eye. I'm like, oh God, oh God, oh God. It was so hauntingly beautiful, and another one of those things that if I don't get to play this, keep me away from sharp objects. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
I really, clamor. Yeah, it's going to be gorgeous.
It sounds fantastic.
Station ID. We have a lot of new people. Over 1,000 people watching right now.
Okay, we'll do another station identification because we have a lot of rotation of fans who come in and people who don't know what the show is.
I mean, we just had Amber Vega show up.
Well,
and
hello.
everyone's wondering what's going on.
Hello,
Hey.
Guna. Hello. And there's Muriel. Tar Muriel. I love your hat. You've got your beautiful sailor's cap on. Jenny, hi Jenny. You're our favorite stalwart here on the show. And look, we have Ekchetham Rules. I think I pronounced that wrong. You guys, good to see you here live on the chat. All right, so Omar. Omar is here, my friend from Texas.
Hey,
how you doing,
Omar?
Now, here's the funny thing. You guys have questions, anything you want to ask Doug, while we have him on the last, Who is Doug? Who is Doug
If you're
Jones?
doing, if you're doing a station ID, let's say, who is the tall, skinny, goofy guy
Lord,
sitting next
help
to
me.
Cliff?
All right, from the top. All right, from the top.
I apologize.
From the top, okay? This is Torn Tuesdays. You are on theonering.net.
Yes.
What is theonering.net? We are a web portal for news and information and community gatherings for the Lord of the Rings fans, commonly known as Ringers. And welcome to our live show. We are here hosted at Meltdown Comics, right here in the heart of Hollywood, Los Angeles, California. Hi, Meltdown Comics. Wave hi to all the live Ringer fans. Woo! Yay! Hey, we've got thousands and thousands of people watching us right now.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it's
Absolutely.
exciting. Very
Congratulations. And so, you guys, you want to have a good time? Come down to Meltdown Comics. There's nowhere else in LA where you need to buy your comics and graphic novels. This is it. And we have Doug Jones to finish this whole station identification, which has gone on way too bloody long. Okay?
Hellboy, right?
Our star, Doug Jones, has been with Guillermo del Toro for many years, and he's starred in Hellboy, Hellboy 2, The Golden Army, and he has starred in Fantastic Four, Rise of the Silver Surfer, and he's been in Pan's Labyrinth, and he has been in, what was this cool little independent film that I read about on your website, The Doug Jones Experience?
DougJonesExperience.com.
.com.
Yeah.
You had, what is it called, Tommy? What was the name of that film?
Jerry. My name is Jerry.
My name is Jerry.
Did I
Yes.
hear that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Mary.
Oh, well, that's very sweet. My name is Jerry was kind of a departure for me with being known as the guy under lots of fantasy rubber makeups. My name is Jerry was my first time carrying a film in the title character
Yes.
as a guy, just as with this face. And I played a middle-aged white guy going through midlife crisis. Something I am and something I have done, and it was written specifically for me by my director Guillermo del Toro. I'm sorry, by my director Morgan Mead, another one of my favorite directors ever. Morgan Mead conceived of this project for me when he was in film school, and I did a short film project for him. We met when he contacted my manager and said, would Doug be in my final thesis project? I read his project and said, oh my gosh, it's hilarious, of course I will. So we did this short 10-minute film, and then later, years later, we're coming out with My Name is Jerry. Yeah, you can find My Name is Jerry also on the Amazon.com. You can buy DVDs. You can also do instant watch on Netflix and also on Hulu. So it's a great fun indie vibe coming of middle-aged story. Jerry, my character, he commingles with a lot of 20-somethings in the movie too that sort of revive his will to live again and educate him about punk music, and so he has this whole crazy young spurt where he wants to go clubbing and dancing
And be young again.
but it's on this body, so therein lies your humor. And he reconnects with a daughter that he's been estranged from for about 10 years, and so there's a nice father-daughter story going on there. And then one of the kids that he's been hanging out with is a young lady that he's kind of thinking maybe there's a romantic involvement. I won't spoil it for you. There might be, there might not be. We're not sure. But it's a lovely story, and I've watched it several times myself, and I don't get tired. I normally don't watch myself a lot. That's one movie I can see again and again because I just think it's so frickin' charming. I'm going to use the C word again. It's charming. Yes. My name is Jerry.
I can't wait to see that. Actually, I've heard a lot of good things about this from other people, and a lot of people in the indie film area. I find that interesting that you have cemented your career in a way as specializing in these effects creatures and under all this makeup, and then the novelty of being able to let your skin breathe and just be yourself.
It's been great fun. It's been great. And in the last couple of years especially, a lot of young directors have come to me and want to put me in something with my own face. So I have a lot that's in the can that hasn't come out yet. Dust of War with Tony Todd coming out. It's a post-apocalyptic story.
Cool.
I also have End of the Road with Robert Picardo and Michael Dorn and myself.
I love Robert Picardo.
Isn't he
He's
great?
funny.
He's a funny
great.
guy.
He is
Yeah,
really
yeah.
great. Two great Star Trek actors.
Exactly.
Michael Dorn and Robert Picardo. Please state the nature of the medical emergency.
Exactly.
I had to do that.
Right,
Sorry.
and that's kind of a little suspense thriller called End of the Road, which is kind of got some humor to it. And what do we? Michael Dorn, yeah. Anyway, so
Wow.
and then we also more movies coming. I played a mafia guy called in Grayscale with Tim Russ. And there's more. Oh, well, in the web series. Oh my gosh! If you're on the Webernet, you must be a web series person. The Guild, right? With Felicia Day.
The Guild with Felicia Day.
I did 4 episodes in the last season 5 of the Guild and had a great time. I played a steampunk dandy and I affected a fake British accent and everything. And I was quite full of myself. I wore a monocle and had a mustache, top hats, tailcoats, the whole thing.
Neat.
Great fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and
Have you done British TV?
I never done any British TV. No, but I don't think they're not buying my accent right just yet. Yeah, any more than you are.
The Hellboy animated films are
Yes.
actually quite good. I really like those a lot. And you get to come back and do the voice of Abe Sapien.
I did
in
indeed.
those.
Hellboy Sword of Storms and Hellboy Blood and Iron.
Blood and Iron, that's a good one.
Yes.
Yeah. That's
So
really good.
had great fun with those. That's a different animal doing voice work, isn't it? And you do voice work.
I do.
You know this.
Yes.
You understand this.
Yes, and I greatly admire the work that artists, animators have to do to put into it.
Oh, gosh,
And
yeah.
then there's the voice guys.
Yeah.
Like my friend Vic Mignogna.
I love Vic.
You know Vic?
I love Vic.
He does the voice of Edward Elric in Full Metal Alchemist. Yes, that's right.
He's huge.
Yeah,
he's huge.
He is a really cool guy, and I just admire the fact that they can get behind a microphone, and all of a sudden they can create a whole soul for someone that's just 2D pencil drawing. That's fascinating to me.
Yeah.
It really is.
No, it is. It is.
Would you like to do more of that?
I would like to do more of that. And hi, Guppy. Oh, okay. I'm just saying. I'm just looking at
Guppy.
people.
Hey, guys.
Anyway, so anyway.
What was your interaction with David Hyde Pierce? Speaking of voiceover.
Speaking of voiceovers,
Now there's a
okay.
quick little story.
The David Hyde Pierce story. Okay, now and this is a question that also comes up an awful lot. Is wait, you were Abe Sapien? I thought it was that guy from Frasier, because in Hellboy 1, David Hyde Pierce did voice over me. That came about because when I was offered the role in the first Hellboy movie, they had already pre-discussed getting a celebrity voiceover to do this, to voice over this heavily made-up role that they would not get a celebrity to do, probably. So
Right.
this was studio talk. This was them also thinking, well, if we get somebody who moves well in a costume, we can get a name actor to promote it's all for marketing,
Right.
to get a name attached to a
Well,
film.
the studio originally wanted Vin Diesel to be cast instead of Ron Perlman.
As Hellboy, right? Exactly.
Which is
also because he had a box office name at the time.
That's right.
But obviously Ron was much better for that role.
much.
Vin's great, but Ron was better for that role.
Yeah.
So they were thinking like marketeers, how do we get this movie out there, and how do we get so I, upon taking the role, I was like, oh, please, don't do that. Just let me do the role. And so I was told at the time, if you give us the voice we need for the role, then your name will be put into the pile of other names being considered, which at the time were Kevin Spacey, Steve Buscemi, and David Hyde Pierce, and then also myself. So I was one of 4 people that were now being considered for the voice of Abe Sapien. So those were not the most ideal conditions to do the first movie in, feeling like I had to audition every day. I had the job, and now I'm still auditioning for it because hopefully they like my voice. You know what I mean? It was tough.
That's a little bit crazy making.
It was a little tough.
Yeah.
It was crazy making.
Gosh.
So when the film was over, everybody commented how much they did like my voice, and that was really sweet.
Yes.
And I came in to do some ADR voice looping to clean up my dialogue and fix things and whatnot, as any actor does in any movie they do. And that day I felt even better about it. And our sound engineer said, "Oh my gosh, you're doing a great job with this character. I just love what you're doing." And Guillermo was happy with it too, Del Toro. So 2 weeks after that is when I got a phone call from Guillermo del Toro saying, I'm sorry. The studio had they loved your voice, what you did with it, but they also loved the sound of David Hyde Pierce and what that would do, what his name could do for the film. And at the time, Frasier was in its last season. He was quite a big deal then. And he still is in my book. I love the man.
Yeah, he had won countless Emmys for that role.
Yeah, exactly. And he's a big Broadway name now. He's a consummate professional.
He is. So
I was crestfallen, thinking like, oh shoot, well there's part of my performance replaced by someone that I love, but still replaced. So here's what happened that was so sweet. David Hyde Pierce, being the gentleman that he is, he came into his voiceover session and listened to my original track, right? Yeah. He's watching me on the screen and hearing me, and he stepped back and said, "What am I doing here?" Which was very, very sweet of him.
In a world where many actors are not quite so generous, and
most actors are very competitive and think that I can do better than that, and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
So it's
the story goes that he wanted to be uncredited,
and the story is true. As the credits roll in the film, David Hyde Pierce doesn't show up anywhere in the front credits or the rolling credits. He didn't show up to the premiere. He didn't do any press. He stayed out of the limelight as much as he could when that film came out. When asked why, he said it's out of respect to Doug Jones. Again,
that's fantastic.
Unheard of. And David Hyde Pierce, I've never met David, but if I do, I heart you, David. On both cheeks, I heart you. So then now we bring up the animated films come up. Guillermo del Toro told me in that phone call that if we get the chance to make a Hellboy 2, I would love to use your voice for that. Okay, but in the meantime, now, unexpectedly, animated films are coming up.
Yes.
Ooh, what do? Ron Perlman's coming back to voice Hellboy. Selma Blair's coming back to voice Liz Sherman.
She did. And John Hurt shows up, too.
John Hurt came back to
one of my favorites.
Voice Professor Bloom.
Yeah.
He's wonderful. So then what do? It's a voice job. David Hyde Pierce did establish the voice in the first film. So they did offer it to him first. David Hyde Pierce politely declined. So they were left coming to me saying, "Do you want to do the voice the animated?" I'm like, "Yes," and that was a perfect transitionary project to get the diehard fans who would be following these animated projects to get them used to my voice and to let them. That would be the acid test.
Absolutely.
Do they buy it or don't they? And as it turns out, I was watching the Webernet very closely the next day after the first one aired on the Cartoon Network.
Yes.
The commentary from all you folks out there that weighed in on it was so glorious and so sweet. I actually did tear up a little bit because I was like, it was a long uphill battle for me to get my voice out there.
Yes.
And to have them say, "We love you. Your voice is great." And a lot of the commentary was, "I'm not sure why David Hyde Pierce voiced over it in the first place. Why did they think that was necessary?" Yeah, so it was just nice, pats on the back and nice confirmation that I wasn't barking up the wrong tree and that because if I had a horrible speech impediment or talked out of the side of my mouth or something, I would understand. Voice over it. But as it is, I don't know. Anyway, so there's love, and then in Hellboy 2: The Golden Army, I was already established, and so I went into that doing the full character, both visually and audibly for you. They kept my voice.
Can I ask whose idea was it to do that crazy Barry Manilow number?
Oh, that was Guillermo del Toro all the way.
Was it? I love that. It's the best.
Well, he wrote in the script. In the script, he wrote.
You are so funny.
Thank you.
You are so funny.
That was great fun.
I'm telling you, you're funny.
And you would know he's funny.
And I know what's funny.
Thank you.
He's funny. This man's funny.
If
it's funny, we'll keep it in the show. You don't cut funny.
You're very kind. You're very kind.
Could you have done the voice of Smaug if Guillermo?
Ooh, now that's a strange voice to take on.
Well, like I said, I didn't read the Hobbit book in this way. I listened to it on tape. Is what I did. I listened to it on cassette tape. We still had a box set of cassette tapes. Listened to it in the car on a road trip. Mrs. Lori and I did. And
Jurassic technology.
It was. And the voice for Smaug in that was a very low type voice. Hello, a very kind of sleepy sounding, and so I don't know. That would have been fun to attempt. I don't know. I don't know that was.
Who did they get for it?
Well, they've got Benedict Cumberbatch, who is currently on the BBC playing Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, that guy.
That
guy. I love him.
That
though.
guy.
He's
yeah.
great.
He's great,
gosh.
and he's in Steven Spielberg's Warhorse.
He is.
And
That's
he's
right,
the best.
Which was great.
He's
he
the
was
best
great.
part about Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. He's the best
Which I
part
haven't
about
seen
it.
yet. Is it
Well,
out there?
It's out there.
This is how I'm
Yes.
sorry. I'm kind of like, ugh. You gotta educate me here on what's out.
Do you have any idea what role you were considered for?
In The Hobbit?
Yeah.
Well, okay.
'Cause there's 13 prosthetic.
Right. Okay. So here's the deal. Most people, when the rumors were out there that I was going to be in the film, most people were leaning toward Thranduil. They thought that I would be an elf type king. Right?
Absolutely. Now, and we know these characters very well.
You know them better than I do. So I assume that I'm built for it. I don't know.
Yes.
Now, here's the answer we got on that. That's the only character that I got a yes or no on. But because I was watching the Webernet out there, and I saw an interview with Guillermo del Toro on MTV.com, and the journalist was saying, "So Guillermo," in this long interview this is when he was still directing The Hobbit. He was still in the thick of pre-production, and he was asked, rumors about Doug Jones playing Thranduil, the Elf King, and what do you have to say about that? And Guillermo said,
well, Doug is great. I love him. I love working with him. And there is a character that's right for him, of course, not the Elf King.
That's what he said. So I'm watching this going,
Not the Elf King.
because I would have loved to have taken that on. But
that character of Thranduil seems to be analogous to some of those elf characters we see in the prelude of Hellboy 2, the Golden
Legolas,
Army.
right? Yes, Legolas is his son.
And Legolas is his son. So
There's the end of my knowledge, by the way.
That's it. But I had for many years been asked, well, you guys know about what Guillermo del Toro is going to do with the project, and I would always be in that position of, what do I know about? Well, because I've interviewed him so many times,
Right.
And so they would also ask the same thing. Wouldn't you like to see Doug Jones as the Elven King? And I said,
sweet. That's very sweet.
yeah, a lot of fans were supporting you on that.
Well,
they always do.
And I know how rabid and diehard the Tolkien fans are. So to have your stamp of your vote of confidence that I could pull off a character like that, it means the world to me. That you have more confidence. You had more confidence in me than I did over that. So I mean, it's a non-issue now, of course, because the movie's being made without me. But at the time, it was that was lovely to hear. And then, of course, but when Guillermo said,
Not the Elf King.
like I said before, he knows more about me than I do. He knows more
Yes.
about my capabilities and my limitations than I do when it comes to his films.
Right.
So I trusted that he had something for me. And of course, we'll never know what that is because he will never tell me.
Never?
I don't
never
think
tell you?
Maybe on my deathbed, I'll go,
Guillermo. What were you going to play? What was I going to play in The Hobbit?
maybe he'll tell me then. I don't know.
No. That's
That is
hysterical.
it if he outlives me. I don't know.
Who are some other current filmmakers in the world of fantasy and sci-fi that you would like to work with?
Well, okay, I had a brush with Tim Burton back in the days of the early Batman days.
Yeah, I was just going to say Tim Burton.
Tim Burton, absolutely.
Yeah.
I would love to work with Tim Burton again in a bigger role.
Yes.
I was in Batman Returns. That would be the one with Danny DeVito playing Penguin.
Yes.
And Michelle Pfeiffer playing Catwoman.
The best. The best.
And Michael
best.
Keaton, of course, was doing his Batman again.
Yes.
And I played one of the Red Triangle Circus Gang clowns that was hanging out with the Penguin all the time. So I was in about 6 scenes with Danny DeVito. Had a ball of a time. That was one of my I think that was my first studio film that I was ever a part of. So it was
cool.
like, I'm on the Warner Brothers lot. Ooh, this is exciting. And it was. So Tim Burton, just whatever little direction I got from him, and we did hit it off for as insignificant as I was in the film, the amount of attention he paid to me and the click that we found, it's like, oh, I really want to do a bigger part with him someday, where I can get into his mind and he can get into mine more.
Great.
What he's got with Johnny Depp is a beautiful relationship that I never want to see stop.
Yes.
So
Here comes Dark Shadows.
and here comes Dark Shadows, which looks great, right?
Uh-huh, yeah.
So in a
does.
funny sort of way, it's not at all the Dark Shadows I saw on TV
No,
when
it's
I was
comedy.
a kid. Yeah, it looks very
comedy
funny,
version
right?
of Dark Shadows.
Yeah, but if anyone could pull it off, it would be those guys. I will leave that to them, and I'm gonna reserve judgment until I see it. I know there's a lot of You know, but
There's a lot of contention
of
in the
course
fan
there
base.
is, of course there is,
Because
but-
nobody wants anybody to play fast and loose with the classic that
right,
they love.
right,
You know?
which I get, which I totally get. But
Yeah.
let's wait and see what it is before we
I agree.
poo-poo.
I
That's
agree.
what I'm
I
gonna say.
agree. I'm excited to see it.
So anything Tim Burton would ever want with me, I would say yes to.
Cool.
Have you gone to Comic-Con?
Have I gone to Comic-Con?
Yeah, the movie's premiering tomorrow, the big documentary about it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the movie's premiering tomorrow, and I think I was invited to the premiere, and I don't think I answered yet. Oh, thank you for reminding me.
Oh yeah.
My publicist Jess called and said that that's tomorrow. I'm probably too late to get in now. Anyway, I haven't answered her. Oh, okay.
Uh-oh.
Well,
I'm
anyway.
sure there's room at ArcLight, so there.
Yeah.
We'll be there.
You're gonna be there?
Yeah, we'll be
I-
there.
yeah.
Interviewing fans.
Of course you are. Well, no, the subject matter is very real and near to me because I do go to Comic-Con, the big mother of them all in San Diego. Any year that I have something to promote, I'll be there. Like I said, so I was there in 2006 for my first time promoting Pan's Labyrinth. We did a panel with Guillermo del Toro and I to thousands of people. And that was also the year that it was sort of like not quite all the way announced that I was the Silver Surfer. It was a kind of a big year for me. And
That's amazing. Like the first time you're going to Comic-Con and then you see the streams.
Yeah, no, it was a crazy time, and I loved. Then I didn't go back again until 2009 when I was promoting Legion and also the Angel of Death, which Angel of Death, the web series turned TV movie of the week turned feature film on DVD. That was with Zoe Bell, and I played like a mafia doctor in that. We had a great time. So I was promoting those projects in 2009, and then in 2010 was the Gentle Giant signing of those figures that they had come out that Guillermo and I did. And then last year I just went because I had a few smaller things now I'm loving it. So now I'm just booking rooms and going down whether I need to be there or not. Okay, so yeah. But this year I'll be at Comic-Con because Neighborhood Watch with Ben Stiller, Vince Vaughn, Jonah Hill, and Richard Iowata, directed by Akiva Schaffer from the Lonely Island Boys of Saturday Night Live.
Yes.
Yes, great, funny director guy.
Very funny.
That Neighborhood Watch will be coming out the next weekend. It comes out July 27th, which is the week after Comic-Con. So I think we're going to have a presence there this year, and I'm hoping that they would include me in their panel and in their signings or whatever they do.
And their party.
And their party. They got a party.
They always got a party. That's what we go to Comic-Con for.
Hands in the air, baby.
Free booze and free booze.
And for a non-drinker, that just does nothing. I know.
Exactly, it does nothing for you.
A lot of those parties that are sponsored by some vodka company. I'm like, well, do you have a Pepsi? That's just me. I don't know. I'm just crazy.
Exactly.
I like Dr. Pepper though. Really, if you're gonna go soft.
Are you a pepper?
I'm a pepper. Wouldn't you like to be a pepper too? Come on,
Be a
Clifford.
pepper. Drink Dr. Pepper. Hey.
As tall as you are you in Avatar?
I'm not an Avatar, I was never even. I was finishing up the Silver Surfer when that was going into production, so it was kind of an overlap, and I thought it was beautiful. It was a gorgeous film, and
Did you see it in 3D?
I saw it in 3D. Yeah, opening weekend I saw it. I was like, blah. Yeah. That was 3D used to its fullest, and that's where 3D is really effective and good. I don't think every movie should be in 3D myself. If it's a great romantic comedy, it doesn't need to be 3D to me. But a movie like that, which was such a visual spectacle and
Yes.
colors and shapes and another world that you could just like fly through. I loved it.
That's breathtaking.
Hobbit in 3D a good idea?
Oh, here's that discussion, right? Because when Guillermo del Toro was directing it, he was adamant about keeping it not 3D because because it would match the Lord of the Rings trilogy, which was not in 3D.
He did say that to us
Do you
too.
remember that?
Yes.
Remember
that? Yeah.
So now we hear it is going to be in 3D. Is that what we hear?
Definitely.
Right. So
with a new technology that not even James Cameron has yet used. It's something new with the Red Epic cameras, which is a new kind of equipment that can shoot the film at twice the rate of the film speed. Naturally, normally we have 48 frames per second.
24 is
24.
Is the standard.
Yeah, 24 frames per second, but now they're shooting The Hobbit in 48 frames per second. And this camera will
get more of a
more
crystal
depth,
clear.
yes, more resolution and more depth of
you can
field.
play with the depth then.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And with a much greater resolution and more frames to choose from,
Okay.
the post-production people can tinker with the 3D and the depth of it. And
there you go.
it's a whole new technology that nobody's really seen yet.
Yeah. Wow.
So I sit down in a room full of fans at Comic-Con, and I ask the whole room, there's 500 people in front of me, how many of you guys are looking forward to this in 3D?
What do
and
you
only
hear?
one girl raised her hand.
Is that right?
The other 499 just went boo.
Really? Okay.
That is what I've seen a lot.
Wow.
And then I go to some other conventions, and there's a mixed bag. Some of them say, yeah, we'll do it, but most of the fans say, we're burnt out on bad 2D to 3D conversions.
Oh, you don't want to see that? No.
Like Clash of the Titans and then The Last Airbender, and all those
sure.
really bad attempts at making 3D that don't look.
Where you just get a headache
all.
watching it and you're done. Yeah.
Yeah, they're worthless.
Right.
In that, but this is a new effort, a new creative design, and a new layer of thought behind this.
Well, then again, before I pass judgment, I'm going to go see it and put my gold glasses on and have the. I'll go on the ride. I'll go for the whole thing. But like a movie like Hugo. 3D was very effectively used in that, and I didn't mind that at all. When I saw Alice in Wonderland, going back to Tim Burton, 3D, perfect. But again, not every movie has to be. I don't think. But when you're going into a fantasy land and you're creating a world that you can't walk out your front door and really find, 3D actually helps you walk into it, doesn't it? It really does in a way. I'm not against it, but I also understand. Guillermo's want to keep it two-dimensional so that it would match. So once you get the whole box set, when it's all said and done,
Indeed.
with 3 Lord of the Rings movies and 2 Hobbit movies and on your shelf, it'll have a consistent look.
Yeah, they'll be of a work, of a piece.
That I get. I guess I get that, but there's both schools of thought, and neither one's wrong to me.
Well, let me see. Now look at the time. I think that we're just about ready to. Yes, we're just about ready to start closing up the show.
Yeah.
All right. Are there any last questions from any of you guys out there? Looks like we have. Wow,
These comments are hilarious.
20,000 total viewers.
Is that
on today's show?
That's fantastic.
Yes,
wow.
it is.
Wow, that's insane.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, 20,000 people.
20,000 fantastic viewers. Okay, what is your favorite character to play? Ezra is asking, who was your favorite character to play?
Hey, Ezra. My favorite costumed character I've ever played would be Abe Sapien, the blue fish guy from your Hellboy movies. I love him. I love his innocence. I love that he's a clairvoyant that kind of can feel things and know where they've been, who wore this hat before and why. I love that sort of tactile power that he has. I love that he has no street smarts, and that I love his relationship with Hellboy and all that, how that works. And physically, he's just a beautiful wonder of a fish man mutant that comes together with such oddity but such beauty. I love him. I love his grace. But now my favorite human character I've ever played was the movie we were discussing earlier, which would be Jerry from My Name is Jerry. I find him to be sort of like have an adolescent innocence about him as well, but he's 40-something years old, and you're really rooting for him to win. He's an underdog, and watching his story progress, it's like there's humor, there's drama, there's some tears, there's some laughs. I just loved Jerry, and My Name is Jerry. So thank you for asking. Very sweet.
Excellent. Yeah, I cannot wait to find a copy of My Name is Jerry. I really want to see that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Another fan says, if you'd consider being a Na'vi in Avatar 2,
Oh dear.
would you consider doing it if asked?
If I was asked to be a Na'vi in Avatar 2, I would say, let me think about it, yes. That would be my answer.
Gosh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Any other last-minute questions, guys? Yes, it is. Okay. All right. Here's Guppy Green asking, how many web series are you in at the moment?
Thank you, Guppy Green, precious love. I am in so many web series, it's hard to count them all right now. If you're watching The Guild, Season 5, Dragon Age Redemption, based on Dragon Age 2, the video game.
Love that.
I played Cerebus in that. Wow, there's some noise, sorry. Also, I'm going to be making an appearance on a show called The League of Steam. League of Steam.
I know those guys.
You know those guys?
I know Andrew.
Oh, you do?
Andrew Fogel.
Is that right? How
Andrew
fun.
Fogel is an old friend of ours.
how very fun.
And he's one of the original supporters of the OneRing.net.
Okay.
And he's one of the creators of the League of Steam.
I believe that next week's episode is the one that Robin Thorson and I are going to be in. Robin Thorson from The Guild. We play husband and wife this coming up episode. It's going to be great fun. That's okay, but wait, there's more. I'm also in a show called Fallout Nuka Break, which is based on Fallout, the video game. Also another one called The Danger Element. All those episodes have not aired yet. I played Dr. Elemus in The Danger Element. These are all look upable on the YouTube, I think.
Yes.
And let's see. And the final, I just finished one that I'm uber excited about. It's called Research. And Research stars Barry Bostwick. Barry Bostwick of the Rocky Horror Picture Show, Spin City, and he is a kooky, white-haired mess of a funny man. I love him, and he played like the lead doctor in this research facility. Research is it's like a research lab where they test drugs and products and side effects on human test subjects. I get to play a human test subject who makes this my full-time career. So I'm a little bit crazy and a little bit too eager to be there.
That does sound funny.
A little too eager to give my blood. Yeah. And so it's a hilarious show directed and written by Adam Hall and co-written by Cale McCann. And I just had the best time working on this. Great ensemble cast of a whole bunch of wacky, funny people. Look for that sometime in June or July this summer. They'll be starting airing those episodes once every 2 weeks.
That's
Research.
We've just got notice from one of our fans that My Name is Jerry is currently streamable and available on Netflix.
It is
right now.
It is on. It is on Netflix as well as Hulu. Yes.
Hulu? I'm going to go put that on my instant queue right now.
Yeah, here you go. And anyone watching from England, I think it just ran on your television in the UK for a couple weeks. So thank you for that.
Excellent. And another question had been asked. It went scrolling up the top.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Have you ever had a chance to be involved in anything Doctor Who? And would you like to be?
If I could tell you how many people ask me about Doctor Who, because, well, look at me, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I get it. So, however, I'm an American. Again, the Brits have to buy my accent before they're going to buy me as Doctor Who or anything Doctor Who-ish. I would also love if I could play a supporting character of some sort, like an evil American. I would love it.
That'd be great.
Yeah, it'd be great fun. I'm not well versed in the universe of Doctor Who, so please don't ask me questions. But I don't know much. But I know that he's got some history there, doesn't he? He's been through many incarnations, and many people have played the actual Doctor Who. And I would love to give it a go. Well, we'll see if there's something.
I'm excited about J.J. Abrams going back to do Star Trek again.
Oh yeah.
Really good stuff.
Yeah.
Now, wouldn't that be great to be dressed up as a classic Roddenberry
Wouldn't it
Klingon
be,
or a creature?
or anything? A new creature maybe that they could introduce? I don't know. That'd be awesome. And I met JJ at the Saturn Awards in 2010, I believe. And he said, it was very sweet. We had a lovely handshaking, big admirer of yours. I admire you. We're going back and forth. It was love.
Oh, good.
And
good.
He said, we didn't get you in on the first Star Trek, but we got to get you in on something. I'm like, yeah, that'd be great. Hey, JJ Abrams, thank you. Oh, my God. Yeah, you can imagine.
For real.
Yeah.
For real.
So I don't know. I've never done anything Star Trek in any of the TV series incarnations or the movies of any of the old ones, new ones, none of them. So I would love to.
Let's backwards.
That's all I can say.
Let's engineer this project. Now
it's
that you're
up to you. If there's 20,000 viewers, think of the power that you have. Yeah.
Well, since you're working with Michael Dorn and Robert Picardo, it seems in alignment somehow.
Somewhere. It's out there.
Well, my friend Doug, I have to say that I consider you one of the pioneers of acting, filmed acting, who is in the footsteps of Lon Chaney and in the footsteps of the great performers who are so unique. They always stand in not just the catalog of the films you've done, but they stand in our minds and in our memories as these amazing otherworldly creatures. And you're able to do things the way you create that grace, that movement of Abe Sapien, the way he has. You did mention it, the relationship he has with Hellboy, and in that scene where they're drinking too many beers and singing Barry Manilow. I mean, it really underscores to me what I think is most surprising. Really most surprising about your talent. as far down under layers and layers of gunk and makeup and plastic and latex applications,
Right.
even though you're buried under there, there's so much life. It
thank
just
you.
comes right out, you know.
That's
and
very
it's
sweet.
well,
Gosh.
you've heard this before, and this is, you know, I'm not telling you anything new, but I don't think I've personally ever had the chance to tell you how much I really admire your work, and I think
thank
it's
you.
really amazing.
I'm humbled and blushy here.
Don't-
Sorry. Woo.
And all the little capillaries in his face
It's
went.
very-
Psh, psh, psh.
Yeah, no, this is very validating and very lovely, and thank you so much. I love the work I've been able to do. I never saw this kind of career coming for myself. Like
Yeah, surprise?
Well, I started being a mime, you know, back in the day, and starting as a mime. I guess that lent that and being tall and skinny. It's where you can build things on me without making me too bulky.
Yeah.
Creature effects makeup people fell in love with that, I guess, that aspect of me. And so I thought I was going to be a tall, skinny, goofy guy coming out to Hollywood and being a next-door neighbor that says funny wisecracks on TV. That's what
Yeah.
I thought I was going to do.
Yeah.
I had no idea that this other career I have was an option. I didn't know that existed. I mean, I'd seen, you know, Boris Karloff playing the Mummy and Frankenstein when I was a kid and being like
Yes.
mesmerized by that. But I never thought that was a viable option for an actor to, you know, for some it didn't gel like,
I want to do that when I grow up.
but the sitcoms did. They gelled with me. Like, yeah, that's what I want to do. So being found as, you know, and having stuff glued onto my face on a regular basis now is kind of a surprise and a lovely one that
It is.
you know that I didn't expect.
To go from, you know, an entertainment background where your young mind is enriched by 70s sitcoms
Yeah,
and all these comedians and comediennes that we
Yeah,
love,
yeah.
and then to go way over from sitcom into genre,
Yeah.
action sci-fi films.
Uh-huh.
That is quite an interesting change.
Yeah, it is.
Quite an interesting. I mean, I never thought I would do documentary work, and I ended up making a documentary about, you know, the Lord of the Rings phenomenon.
Sure.
And that was only
no one
because
better than you, by the way.
we're so close to
Yeah,
it, and we all
exactly.
know these people.
Right.
So and
We're
they're
all
here.
friends, huh?
Yeah, we're all friends. So it seemed to make sense. But surprises. That's what keeps me interested. Mm-hmm. There's always another surprise around the corner.
That's true.
And I am very much looking forward to the next
surprise.
surprises for you.
You
Sir.
and me both, baby. Okay.
Yeah?
Okay.
Mr. Burton, are you listening?
Yeah, Tim Burton.
Yes, we are. No, here.
Close out on this
We're going to close out on camera B. Bye-bye, camera A.
Bye, Cameron. Oh,
And we're going
hey.
back to camera B. Hi, camera B. All right, we have another chance to show you guys this excellent and very funny book.
My very own book.
My very own book.
You can get it at Amazon.com or BarnesandNoble.com.
And the ebook version is available at MedallionPress.com.
Oh, is it?
It's right there on the back.
Oh,
I
and
just
there
read
it is.
that.
Oh, you did you? Isn't that something? Okay,
Yes.
well there you go.
So get your iPad and you can go to MedallionPress.com.
Yeah, if you have a Kindle Fire or a you know, or an iPad or a Nook, I'm sure that
so funny.
you can probably get it that way too. But to hold it in your hands is a different experience. That would be the that's the beginning of mime. Right?
The beginning of time? The
No,
beginning of mime.
Of man, I think it was. Was,
Oh,
it, was
man.
that the Michelangelo
Yeah,
Sistine Chapel
that's
thing?
very funny.
Yeah.
Okay,
So-
you guys, this is funny. I got to show you this. The beginning of mime.
Yeah, you've seen the God touching God and Adam's fingers touching. It's a very famous painting on the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel.
Guys, that's hysterical.
We redid it with a bunch of mimes.
So funny.
silly, but that's out there now. And Neighborhood Watch, of course, it will hit your theaters July 27th, and I'll be playing your lead alien in that movie
Yes.
with Ben Stiller, Vince Vaughn, and Jonah Hill. And then, of course,
We also remind all of our fans to go and pick up the copy of the British SFX magazine, short for special effects. It's got our very favorite guys from Big Bang Theory on the back.
love that show.
I know.
Love that show.
I want to see you on that show.
I would love to be on that show.
That's the next sitcom.
There you go. If I could just guest star on one episode.
Does
that'd
this
be awesome.
character what about his dad?
His dad, I get equated with him all the time. People think that.
Yeah. What if
what's
you
his
could play
name
his
again? His
dad?
name is. Kurt.
And how many Emmys has he won?
A gazillion, right?
Yeah,
right,
enough,
no.
enough.
He's-
But here's the Hobbit. There's Martin Freeman as our Hobbit Bilbo Baggins, and he is going to be in movie theaters this coming December.
Very exciting.
And
very exciting indeed.
I want to say, Mr. Doug Jones, you are very gracious with your time. Thank you.
As are you. Thank you for finding me worthy of this beautiful audience of yours. Thank you guys for finding me worthy. Of this little hour and a half we've spent together today. I've had a great time with you all. I really have. Really
It's
have.
good. Really
It's
good stuff.
Well,
Thank you.
And since the Hobbit Rumors started, 4 years ago, I've been wanting to have this talk out loud with all of you all that time, but I held off because it wasn't real yet. I was never really cast all the way. There were rumors that but it hadn't come to gel. And now that the movie's being made without me, and we know that for sure, I can come out and talk about it now, and I'm glad we could clear all that up. So thank you for your patience.
One door closes and
Another
several more open.
That's
yeah,
right. That's right. That's
right.
right.
I love that.
Dive.
You guys, love for this man. Lots of love for Dougie Jones.
And lots of love for Clifford Scott Broadway. Yes.
We'll do the motorboating when we turn the camera off.
Isn't that a
guys-
naughty term?
It could be, but we don't do any PG rated jokes
No, not here,
unless they're
folks.
thinly veiled innuendo.
That's
the
right.
best we
That's
can
right.
do
That's
on a
right.
family show. So we're going to sign off from our friends here in Hollywood, Meltdown Comics, your one-stop shop for all cool things in the world of illustrated fiction, as Scott McCloud appropriately called it.
Lots of fun toys here too.
Oh my gosh, this is the coolest. So you guys stay tuned to theonering.net for more news, more details, and we're going to publish an article this week, probably tomorrow, about the mysterious house where Radagast lives. And we're going to tell you some secrets from behind the scenes. So stay tuned to theonering.net, and thank you again for coming to join us. This is Torn Tuesdays. Doug Jones, my excellent and wonderful friend and guest star.
Thank you.
Lots
Thank
of
you,
love
precious.
to this
Thank
man.
you.
I'm Clifford Broadway, Quick Beam, signing off, and we say good night and good luck. Or, as they say back in the kitchen, buenos, what do they say in the kitchen?
In the kitchen?
In the kitchen they say, buenos noches y buena suerte. That's what they say.
Good night and
Good luck.
good luck.
Good night and good luck.
I should know that.
Thanks, guys, and my hat is off to you. Bye. And then we put the